Oh, so close. You almost got Rod walking. So close.
So close.
Hello? Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Tuesday Night Live. I am Kat, the nurse flipper. I'm joined by my co-host, Rod, picking and punching. Below me is Erin, Rebel Junque. She has been on with us before, therefore she is in the hot seat tonight. And Catty corner is Joe and Nicole. Their name is I Flip That. So I'm going to make Erin big and then Joe and Nicole and let them introduce themselves. And then we will get to your questions. So here is Erin.
Hello, I'm Erin, Rebel Junque. So I've been an eBay seller for about 3 or 4 years now. But if you look at my account, it says I've had it since 2003 because I've always been a buyer. I post mostly on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel. I haven't posted there in quite a while. But yeah, if you want to follow me, Instagram's probably the best way to do that. But I sell everything. I mean,
here's Joe and Nicole.
Jewelry, pumpkins, and all of that.
We're Joe and Nicole from Minnesota, and we are I'd Flip That. And we've been selling off and on for 20 years, really hard the last 3 years or so.
Right.
And we have a YouTube channel, and we do the fun Reseller Showdown game show.
Right on.
Yeah.
What day is that? So everybody knows day and time.
We actually have one this coming Thursday. We have Katie and Vicky from Vegas that do the Boss Reseller Remix. Those are our contestants this coming week.
But
and we do
every
it
other Tuesday or Thursday,
every
excuse
other
me.
Thursday.
Yep. 8 p.m. Central.
8 p.m. Central
Perfect.
time, you said?
Yep.
Yeah.
So 9 p.m. Eastern time for all the Eastern people there.
Yep.
All the lovely time zones. We have to love it.
Right.
All right, our first question, Miss Joanne, I saw she put it in again, but she put this in at 1 o'clock this afternoon. So you guys know, most of the time we're not in here. So if we don't catch it, it disappears. I was uploading something though, and I caught this and I saved it. But typically if you post before 7, it erases it. So just an FYI. But Joe, we got both of your questions, Joanne. So Joanne's first question, and they're kind of related, so I'll probably read them both. So the first one is, how do you keep track of your inventory records? Do you have a spreadsheet of when and where you bought things and how much you paid and where it is stored? And the second one is that she has a very small business. She only has 3 listings, but she has trouble keeping track of everything. And she wants to know how we do it. Erin has her inventory behind her head and she's answering first. So that is perfect.
I don't have an inventory system. I have some, like, this is my jewelry shelf that's right behind me. So I have some like items together. There's a bin for Christmas ornaments. There's a bin over there for stamps, things like that. Beyond that, it's by size. I have small, medium, and large tubs, and I just try and find it when it sells. And I probably have 1,500 listings now.
But you don't label like A1, A2. You are insane. She's living on the wild
workout trying to find
guys.
stuff, you know.
She's
So
I
got a follow-up question here. How often do you lose items then?
In 3 years, I've had to cancel 2 orders.
Wow. Okay.
That's impressive.
But are you putting everything by like items then, and then just
Most of it is.
most of it? Okay.
Sometimes if I see something, I remember that I bought it at the same place, and I'll be like, oh, it's probably in there.
Okay.
Things like that. I've got a bin that's just purses in the other room so the cats don't get into it. Like I've got just down beside me, there's a bin that's just air fresheners because I bought a big lot of them. There's a box that's just NASCAR. The rest of it's a lot of glass. So it's in like 10 bins, but it's all glass. So I have to search through 10 bins if I can't. They're all clear, so if I can't see what I'm looking for, I just have to pull a few out. So I have no system. I'm no help at all.
Well, I totally was going to call Joe out, but now you're making him look good, actually.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you.
Glad I could help.
Just because, not so much for inventory, but other records, Joe tends to like just as the pen and paper type of thing. Your inventory is a little more organized. Why don't you tell them how you do that?
Yeah, when I first started, I thought, I'll just put it in this bin. I'll remember it. And then by the time I got to bin 3 or 4, I'm like, I don't remember. So then I'm digging through bins. So each bin is labeled A1, B1, whatever. And then for keeping track of inventory, when I go out garage sailing, I keep track of the mileage and the notes in my phone, what city I went in, how many miles I drove to do it, how much I spent. And if I remember each sale, I keep track of what those are and then how many items total I bought. So I can kind of keep track of the items to how much money I spent, like the average of cost and stuff like that. So
Yeah, but sometimes I'll ask him, wait, how much did you spend on that? And then I feel like he maybe changes it a couple dollars here or there to make it sound like a better sale than it is. Just a little bit, like fish tails, when
I'm
you're out
sure.
fishing,
right.
you got to exaggerate a little bit.
Right.
So for me, when it comes to like my inventory system, I use bins and I use like A1, A2, A3 through like A9, and then I go B1, B2. And then for like my comic books, all that stuff, I have those in boxes or magazines. So box 1, box 2, box 3, and I keep them organized and lined up. And then like all my books, I keep on a bookshelf. So bookshelf 1, 2. And then if I have big items, I have like another like warehouse where I keep items at. And then I'll put like, warehouse shelf. So my big items, so they're not taking up a lot of space in when it comes to my inventory here. But as for like keeping records and stuff like that, I know a lot of people don't keep records. I actually have like a photographic memory when it comes to all my items. So I can literally pick out, you walk into my inventory, you can pick out one item. I can tell you exactly where I got it and pretty much what I paid for it when it comes to that. But that doesn't help for accounting purposes.
Right.
So
but if you're doing money in, money out, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But for a lot of people that want to keep records of like going to yard sales, thrift stores, flea markets, especially if you're paying cash for stuff, one thing you can always do is, I highly recommend this, is buy a receipt book. You can actually keep it in your car. You can get like a small one and keep it right in your console. So anytime you make a purchase, you can pull it out. You can write down the address and then what you spent, what you got, just so you have something for your records. Because when you're going out, you get so excited, you get done sourcing. A lot of people leave the stuff in the car and get it out a couple of days later because I am Kat's known for that. I know for that.
Couple months later.
In her phone. So I highly recommend keeping some type of system like that. Something that I need to personally get better at because I still have issues with that. That's one of my biggest flaws, I say, with my business club.
Yeah, so I have 5,800 items. So not having a system would be catastrophic to me. It would take forever to find. I can't find stuff with a system, so without, I don't even want to know what it would be like. We have 3 different inventory areas. One is like each shelf is a letter, so it's A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3 in one section, and then in the shed it's double letters, so it's like AA1, AA2, so that way I know which shed it. And this shed, because I'm crazy, everything is X. So we actually have boxes from X1 up to X102 in here so far, and we're getting ready to add more. So the big shed is X, and then we have single and double letters. I am like Rod. I pretty much can remember what I paid for something, where I got it, or what lot it came in. And I do money in, money out. So I tell you guys on videos, but other than that, I really don't care. It's all about like money in, money out and bottom line for me. But if you're having trouble remembering, even if you don't do an inventory system, you can, like when I first started, use the custom SKU. You can put how much you paid when you listed it. I just helped somebody set theirs up, and I've seen people put where they get it. They could put like, who is it? Somebody's always on Instagram saying free from friend or free from neighbor. I see it.
Dina.
Yes.
Todd Reseller too. He always gets free stuff.
Yeah, and so in the SKU, you could put where you got it, how much you paid, and where it is. Whether that's A1, A2, A3, or it's third shelf on the bookshelf, or like mine will say behind canning kitchen door. One of like my pictures are hanging on the wall in the bathroom. It literally says wall and bathroom. So as long as I know where to find it, that's the important thing. As long as you can put where it's at in that custom SKU and remember where to grab it, that's what's important. I don't feel like the A1, A2, you could do whatever you like. Kevin has like different YouTubers and on his drawers. You could do that. You could put animals. You could do whatever you wanted. But I would put it in the custom SKU. Erin's got a better memory than me because once I got past about 500, I just could not, like, I couldn't remember where stuff was anymore. Could
Yeah, I know
not.
some other people have been doing since a lot of YouTubers actually have their own stickers. They use YouTube stickers to categorize all their different shelving and stuff. We have a question right here. Why don't you grab this one because it goes in what you just said.
Money in, money out means you don't keep inventory. It's an accounting method. And I would suggest asking your accountant about what they think works best for you. You can only change it twice in the life of your business, I believe. So you have to be really careful with how you're doing it. So mine's basically how much ever money I spent for the year versus how much money I made for the year, which sucks if I spend a lot of money on inventory one year. And like this year, I haven't bought much at all. So my profits will look higher this year because it was all subtracted out last year. So that's the only thing is if you have a month where you say, I'm not buying anymore, everything is profit that month because you've already calculated the money you spent. So it's just a different way of tracking your accounting. And I would ask an accountant. The other way is you have to keep inventory and you don't count the money you spend on it until it sells. So it's a lot more bookkeeping and it's a lot more tedious. But for me, I am good with money in, money out.
And I also think this is really important too, because they talk about thermal papers and when you do get your receipts, those things do wipe off pretty fast in a few months.
Yeah, there are a lot of apps that you can take a picture of the receipts and store them. That's what I would recommend is taking a picture or copying it, because if you copy it, then it's not going to, like, you could put 3 or 4 receipts on a sheet of paper and have them photocopied. But yeah, thermal, if exposed to heat, if you have it inside in a box, a lot of times they're good. But if you put it in any heat, they're gonna
your console of your car, or you're throwing in your cup holder because you're out all the time. But another thing too is if you have a business credit card, like I have Amex, of a business credit card, you can actually upload the receipts directly. So if I go out to dinner or something like that, I literally take a picture, I upload it right to my credit card.
I wonder if mine has that, because I have Chase business card. I wonder if it has that option.
I'm sure they do. I mean, Amex does. It's great. So, and that's another thing too. If anyone here does not have a rewards credit card for your business, you are missing out tremendously. I pay all my stuff on eBay. I don't use the eBay, whatever eBay calls their payment system. I pay all my shipping labels to PayPal because I have my credit card hooked to the PayPal, which gives me all my bonus points because they're giving me the money.
I don't think mine has that option.
You don't have that? Yeah, American Express has that option, so something to keep in mind.
No.
365 says my Chase card has it. Do you have
That's
Chase?
what I'm on.
Yeah, she said that her Chase card has it.
Where? How?
365.
I just wanted to add a note that I also downloaded Reseller Genie. I'm not real great at it yet, but I can see where the benefits are going to be.
Yeah, they're great. So Reseller Genie
for sure. Yeah, and I think you get 5 or 10% off. I have a code, the Nurse Flipper. If you guys want to try my Reseller Genie, I pay an accountant quite a bit of money to do mine, but that is not the best option for most people in small businesses. So my Reseller Genie is absolutely great for that. If you guys want something that is tailored accounting wise to resellers, that one is a good one.
Yeah, and they're great people. I hung out with them at FlipCon.
Camille sent us a super sticker. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Here is your dolphin. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's see what's next. Miss Valerie says, when cross-listing, how do you manage your photos since the various platforms don't allow the same number of photos in the listing?
I use Vendu to cross-post when I do cross-post, and I don't do it very often. And after I list an item, I delete it off my phone, and if I have to photograph it again, I'll do that.
I list everything on eBay, then I cross-post. I use Vendu as well over to the other ones, and you just delete the pictures. If you just pick which ones aren't, I don't even know which. Depop has what, 6 or 7 pictures. They don't have a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you just pick the bad ones and go with that way.
Or keep the good ones.
Well, yeah, keep the good ones. Get rid of the bad ones.
Get rid of
There
the
we
bad
go.
ones.
I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Now you know why he doesn't sell anything on Depop, all right? Since you keep all the bad ones. Not joking.
Right?
me-
Yeah,
me and
yeah.
Kat-
I don't sell anything on Depop.
Me and Kat both use lists perfectly here, and when I know when I cross list stuff over there, I just I would keep the better photos that I use. On eBay, you can list up to 24 photos, so that's probably much the biggest one of all the different apps out there that I know of. So I just take the top photos because usually my top 4 or 5 photos on eBay would be suffice on any app or any other platform. I just add the extra ones on eBay because especially if I'm dealing with high-end collectibles or if I'm dealing with big lots of stuff, they get more pictures because you do have that option. But I would say probably majority of my business does come from eBay anyway. So I mean, if I have less pictures on those other platforms, I'm not going to do any extra work and take extra photos for those. I'm just going to run with the less photos.
Yeah, and I very rarely take more than like 6 pictures. I think all of my pictures will fit on the other platforms. The exception is really, really expensive stuff. I might do 10 or 12, but typically 5 or 6 is enough for me. So I don't typically run into that issue at all. Rosie wants to know, how do you avoid eBay insertion fees? That is a simple answer. Erin, do you know the answer?
Don't list auctions.
No.
No, I don't know that.
How else though? How else?
Well, I mean, you can get free listings if you've got a store or if you get a promotional coupon. Yeah.
Yay! Yeah.
Well, but technically you don't get free listings if you have a store because you still have to pay for that store. So you're
You're going to pay for it. You're just not going to pay 30 cents a listing.
You're paying a reduced.
That's over $250.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're paying for a service and you're going to pay for it whether you're paying for a store or paying for it by itself. But if you have over 250, you'll save by having a store. Everybody gets like 200 or 250, I think, a month free insertion. And I get like 100 auctions or something. I think they always offer me for free too.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're using their platform. And there's no way to avoid it. You're going to pay for it one way or another through a store or something else, unless you're just selling a couple items, like you said. Other than that, you'll eventually have to pay for insertion fees.
Yeah, and if you're listing under 250, as long as you're not doing extra stuff like a subtitle or bold title, you shouldn't have any fees on that. You just have your final value fees when it sells.
Oh, here we go.
Starter store gets you 1,000 listings, no insertion fees, and up to 10,000 in certain categories. Yeah, and you get the coupon. That's the one that's $19.99 a month. So, yeah, good to know. Rosie also wants to know, do you recommend buy it now alongside an auction on eBay and or on Whatnot?
Buy it now on eBay. If you're going to list it, buy it now, I would do that. If you're going to do an auction, I would do that. Start your auction at a price that you're willing to accept, as the lowest price if it sells with just one bid. I don't see any other reason to put it up there. The only exception that I ever made for that was an auction where I knew the item was desirable, but there were literally nothing to compare it to, nothing similar. It was pretty wild. I just threw it out there, and a gentleman messaged me and sent me an offer, and he said, "Can you put this price in the buy it now?" And I'll buy it right now. And so I was like, well, that's not going to disrupt the auction if he doesn't buy it. So I did add that in. On Whatnot, I mean, you've got your store and you've got your auctions. So it just depends on where you want to put the item. If you've offered it to your audience at the price that you want for it and it didn't sell, then put it in your store and see if somebody else sees it that wants it at that price.
We just do everything buy it now with offers turned on. So, and all the same prices go to Poshmark and Whatnot and Mercari and yeah.
So for me, I mean, everything I listen to eBay is buy it now. If I do run an auction, I'm looking to move something. I want to get a lot of eyes on it. So I'm going to start at a very low price. I'm not going to put a buy it now on it because I want to move it. I want eyes on it. Because sometimes sometimes you put a buy it now on it, you may be shooting yourself in the foot.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it could be a turnoff for other people. So I like to list my auctions. Literally, I'll start them at 99 cents, $9.99, somewhere in that ballpark when I do run my auctions. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it bites me in the foot, but at the end of the day, like it happens. Like I literally had a whole thing of cassette tapes I ran, which I thought they were going to get probably $70-80, and it sold for $3.25. So it's a risk of 99 cents, but I had nothing into it, so it didn't really matter at that time.
Right.
But you just got to be careful, you know.
Yeah, so I actually, on probably half of my auctions, I do put a buy it now, and my buy it now is ridiculously high. So I might start an auction at $99, and the buy it now is at $600. Where if they want me to end, basically that's what I want if they want me to end that auction early, and it's if they're willing to pay for it. And I only run auctions on rare things. As far as Whatnot, I have stuff in my store that I copied over from Poshmark, but on my auction stuff, I start everything at $5 for the most part, but I have started doing some higher end stuff. I start at $50, and that stuff I actually don't put in the catalog until somebody shows interest. So I can get a feel for who's there and if they're going to pay up. And if like I know who likes certain things, and I can show them, and if they say they want it ran, I tell them it's a $50 start, but I don't actually take the time to catalog that, because 9 out of 10 shows I'm not gonna run those $50 items. But there is that, 10% of the time that I can. So on Whatnot, like, you have your store. I don't really put stuff in the buy it now except for my merch, like my stickers and t-shirts, because they say that you should, but my point of using Whatnot is to flip inventory fast. We sell 500 to 600 items a week, and we're starting it at 5, and we're go, go, go. If you intend to run auctions on the move, I wouldn't put it in the buy it now. No, I would just put it at the lowest amount you're willing to take and let it go.
Isn't it still the fact that if you put a buy now on it and someone bids on it, that buy now disappears?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're going to just put items to movie, you want to list it at a very low price. So it makes no sense putting buy it now in there, because as soon as someone bids on it, it's just the buy now is going to disappear. With Kat's situation, since she's starting out at a higher price at $99, she has more flexibility there, because not people are going to come in and just put a bid in for 99 cents, and then they're not going to bid anymore, with that. So you can put a higher on that, but.
Okay, hold on. I'm halfway reading that. Selecting I can't read that fast. Okay, hold on. Let me read the next question, and then I'll try and read it. I'm going to star this. Rod, don't unstar it. Okay, I'm starring it to save it for myself. 365 Vintage Hunter, which is just who actually answered to help me. If you had the ability to purchase one item that you knew would make a lot of money, what would that one item be?
Oh my gosh. I think it would have to be like jewelry, like, like precious metals and gems, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know what I would pick.
Just gonna say something Star Wars, right?
I was gonna say some toy, some kind of a toy.
Right,
yes.
Right. The Millennium Falcon from your childhood that you fell on and broke, or whatever.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think for me would probably be video games, because I can play them until they sell, and then when they do sell, so I can kill 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, I do buy stuff that makes a lot of, and it would be jewelry. It has been my top thing lately, because it's small and doesn't take up space, and there can be a lot of really, really high dollar. So I would say jewelry, hands down. Miss Karen says she just got a Rolo, a wireless one. She's got it working, printing single labels from eBay, but she wasn't sure if it would go back to sideways for printing bulk. Does anyone on the panel or in the chat know the answer to this? I am a Dymo, and what's the name of our other one, Rod?
You ask me every time and I forget. We literally need to write down, put a note next to it.
We have a generic one, and I use a Dymo, but I don't use a Rolo.
Just drop your link, then that will tell us what it is. Your Amazon link.
Off Nova.
Off Nova. There we go. Yeah. Does anyone know the answer to this one?
I do not. I have an off brand also.
I have a Rolo, but I just do each item one at a time. I don't do bulk.
So my recommendation to you would be go on YouTube and just search it, because there's a lot of people that have printer problems with every single printer, and they will be able to help you through that problem. And especially if you're coming to bulk orders and running that issue, because if you have it, someone else is having that same issue.
Yeah. Molly says, we've all had lowball offers from buyers. Have you ever received lowball offers from other sellers?
Absolutely.
I bet most of your lowball offers are from other sellers. Just a side note.
Yeah, for sure I have.
Oh yeah, I have. You just see the feedback and they have 40,000, and it's like, all right, yeah, I know what you're going to do.
Absolutely. I have received some, and I've sent my own lowball offers out. Just the fact that people may have seen, I had an item on my watch list for a long time, and I was like, I'm going to throw an lowball in there, but I accept lowball offers sometimes. Like I literally just sold a payphone that had sitting in my store for $400, and someone sent me an offer for $155. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of moving it around because I keep moving it. I was like, I'm not even going to count it. I'm just going to sell it. So you never know.
Yeah, and that happens to me occasionally, but typically if you send me under 50%, I'm either declining you or I'm countering you at 1 penny off my asking price to get my point across. But like Rod said, there have been a few high dollar things that I have accepted less than 50%. So I don't set like a minimum threshold. I don't look on eBay to see if they're a seller because I really don't care. If you send me less than 50%, 99% of the time, you're going to get one of those two. You're going to get declined or you're going to get a counter at a penny less than asking. But the place I notice it is on Poshmark. On Poshmark, I have these people that have like $300 purses and they're like lowballing me on a t-shirt. And what I want to do, I'm not going to lie here. I'm just going to tell you what I want to do is go offer them $30 for their $300 t-shirt and see how they like it.
Right.
And I've thought about it. I have never done it, but that's what I want to do. So I am not, I am not a fan of under 50% unless it's like a multi-$100 item that I happen to get cheap and I've had a long time. That's the only time it's not going to make me grumpy. Rosie in the middle, it just does. I mean, I let it go, but it does for a second make me grumpy.
I tend to counter offer them.
Yeah, I most of the time decline. I typically decline. So if I counter you at a penny off, that means I'm in a really pissy mood and just being snarky. To be honest, I'm just being snarky. Rosie wants to know, did you acquire new inventory exclusively for Whatnot, or did you use your existing inventory? Why or why not?
Good question.
And Rosie, we talked about the insertion fees a little bit ago.
Yeah. I started Whatnot with things that I had that weren't moving, but that I knew were desirable and I wasn't sure why they weren't moving. So I started off with things like vintage glass and pottery, which was really dumb because it takes a lot of time to pack those. And if you sell 40 items in one night, you have to pack 40 items the next day. But I did eventually move over to selling small things, which again, I had a bunch of because I buy things in lots. So I've always got trinkets and figurines and trinket boxes, all that kind of just like it fits in your hand kind of stuff. So I did switch over to that. And then eventually I did start buying for Whatnot. I had an opportunity to buy a large collection of things that were all cats from several different brands of trinket boxes and enameled metal paint and ceramics and things. So that inventory I bought specifically for Whatnot. I have enough jewelry. I could probably do Whatnot for a year if I started, but I haven't been on for a while. But yeah, I do have inventory that's supposed to be on there.
We haven't done a Whatnot in almost
It's been a while.
9 months probably.
Right.
So
But
I have enough money pile stuff that we could have plenty of
I
Whatnot.
think we've been
but I
pulling
don't.
things that we think are for Whatnot, but I do think we've kind of changed as we're outsourcing. you know, especially at the bins where we're like, oh, let's grab this. It'll be good for a whatnot. So we definitely have that in mind, you know, if we're getting it at such a cheap price, and
Right.
it's the things that we know would go good for a whatnot. We just haven't gotten to the point to start cranking out our whatnots, but it's on our to-do list,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
After Vegas.
Yes.
So I will say I have been diehard eBay seller for a very, very long time. And I just ran my first couple whatnots were garbage. I would say that. Like I was just putting up plush, putting up other stuff. I would make maybe $100, break even on those shows. It wasn't until I actually put up more quality merchandise up there that I saw a giant change in my whatnot. You know, my last show, I did 75 items, all 75 items sold out. I did over $700 in sales on, you know, for that one show. And it got me thinking. In literally this entire week, I've been really rethinking my whole philosophy on things, because, you know, with the amount of time it takes to list, I can list 40, 50 items in, you know, in an hour and whatnot, where I can list maybe 10 or 15 items on eBay, just going through all the different things. So I would say now I am going to start sourcing directly for whatnot, but it's going to be items that are going to be, I'm going to start putting more higher dollar items on eBay, maybe $20, $25 or more, where my lower dollar items may go on whatnot, because I'll do $2 starts across the board. So it's, you know, it's going to be a different philosophy. I'm going to probably work with over the next couple of months to see what I'm actually going to do. I have plenty of inventory though that I don't need to store for whatnot either. So I am going to start probably running multiple shows a week and just start blowing out a ton of inventory. So a lot of resellers got a lot of good deals on stuff. But it really is, if you are successful and whatnot, it really will change your mindset on things. I mean, Kat is now officially a big jewelry seller, which, you know, that wasn't something you did previously. I mean, you sold some jewelry, but now it's a main focus.
Yeah, not a ton.
Yeah.
I went through a phase of jewelry. I do that a lot. If you watch me and have watched me for a long time, you know, Erin's laughing because she's been watching me. I did scarves for a long time, and then I did handkerchiefs, and then I did jewelry. Just like I have not been doing my resin. I get bored teacups. I get bored very easy.
Yeah.
That's why I sell everything and I move on really fast. So you guys will notice I'm like gung-ho, and then I'm like, oh, forget it. That's just me. That's been me my whole life. To answer the question, I do exclusively source for whatnot. Anything you see on whatnot was sourced for whatnot. And I know at the beginning of whatnot, it was a lot of resellers dumping stale inventory. And I think that kind of gave a bad name to the platform that I didn't really like. And so for me, I wanted to source new inventory that was bought just for there. Now, Erin has a good point. I have some kitschy, cute stuff that I think would show well live that hasn't been selling on eBay. If I wanted to pack a lot of that stuff, I would do that, but I do not.
Yeah.
So I did linens. I actually just found some more. I was going to do a pop-up today, but I decided not to. So I exclusively source, and like Rod said, I have been pickier as far as what I am showing, because I do get more money when I bring better quality. And I think that does matter. Not all the time, not 100% of the time, but a lot of the time I will get the money if I bring better stuff. So I am pickier since I went from $2 to $5 starts. I pretty much look at everything like, would I pay $5 for this? And if the answer is no, I'm not going to run it. And that's, I haven't really pulled from the eBay inventory because I have a little bit of jewelry, but I prefer just to source straight for whatnot because I just do jewelry, and I actually just source some linen. I feel like my crowd is kind of worn out a little on jewelry. So I'm going to start throwing like, it's Wednesday. Listen, Brad yelled at me today that it was Monday and there was no shipping. And I'm like, Dalton is at school. If it was Labor Day, Dalton would not be at school. So anyways, tomorrow we are doing scarves to switch it up. I did linens last week. I'll probably start throwing some linens in just to switch it up, because I've been doing jewelry 5 days a week pretty much since September. We've sold like over 20,000 items. And I think I need to spice it up a little to like wake everybody up again. And yeah, but that's all linens that I'm sourcing just for whatnot too. Just FYI. Oh, super chat. Dolphin. Here you go. Thank you.
Super chat.
the original one. Valerie sent, I'm going to do rods next. Valerie sent a $9.99 super chat and asked if any of us collaborate. If a reseller brings you a U-Haul of stuff ready to sell on Whatnot and split for profits. I have 0 followers on Whatnot. So I think she's saying she has a U-Haul of stuff ready to sell. Are any of us willing to sell it on Whatnot or eBay and split the profits?
No. The easy answer is no. It's a lot of bookkeeping. It's a lot of keeping track of information that I'm not willing to do. It's a lot of work. I had, in the very beginning, a friend gave me some Cricut cartridges. If you're a crafter, you're a scrapbooker, you know what I mean? And I said,
Erin,
hey,
get your drink.
I was like, hey, are these like, oh, thank you, hon. Thank you,
Like the
sweetie.
Simpsons, the meme where like Homer's like looking through like the bushes.
This shelf moves. It's in the wrong spot. It's not usually there. But I said, hey, are these connected to anybody else's account? And she said no. So I sold them. And the lady wrote back, and there were 2 of them that I had sent out, and they had both been connected. And so I had to refund. And I was like, forget it. I'm just not doing this for anybody else. So I do sell for charity. If you have noticed eBay's charity program, you see that little yellow and blue ribbon next to an item, and it'll tell you what the percentage of the item sale will go to that charity, what the charity is. You can click on them, get more information, and see their store. So I have I think I have about 30 items right now for a charity that I volunteer with. So I do sell their items. It's easy though, because eBay says, hey, you owe this charity this much money. And I say, okay, pay them, please. And that's it. That's all I have to do. So I do that for them.
I was going to say, can we just sell it right out
No,
of your
I was going to
U-Haul
say no.
vehicle?
Joe's saying yes.
We have
Yeah.
too much of our own stuff.
Right. You don't need, I mean, we don't have a whole lot of followers on our Whatnot.
Right.
And we did well with one video game one where somebody came in and just brought a whole bunch of friends. So I don't know.
we're
It's
not
a
the
slow
pros.
building. Yeah.
So personally, I probably would not, depending what the merchandise was. If it was something that's going to be easy to ship and fast moving, then yes. Or if you didn't care what it went for, we can start everything at $2 and just run it. One thing a lot of people don't tell you when you do Whatnot is that the listing all the items, now you have to put all the pictures in, and shipping all the items takes a lot more time than what you think. And that's the one thing that if you're a one-man show or one-woman show, that's a lot of time. I would say if you're thinking about doing this with something you're partner up with and you have 0 feedback or you haven't run any shows, I would run some shows first on Whatnot to get the kinks out so that you know what to do. This way, if you're going to be dealing with someone else's merchandise, you want to know what's going to sell in those different categories, what you could potentially get, because you might only get 60 cents on the dollar than what you would get on eBay selling those items, but you're going to be selling those items real fast and moving those items. So you have to calculate that it's actually going to be worth your time to factor that in after doing the split, after doing the fees. And are that you're going to have someone help you ship it, or do you have to ship all that? So if you're doing a 50-50 split and you have to do all the work and all the shipping and everything else, they must have some higher end items, because it's a lot of work. And that's something people don't understand when it comes to Whatnot.
So my scarf show tomorrow is exactly this. A friend of mine brought me 130 scarves and asked me if I would split it. I will tell you, I am taking out the money I pay Aunt Roberta to list. I will take out the money that I pay Brooke to run the show with me and to pack. And she might be in the chat tonight. She might regret this. I'm not going to, because all my costs are going to be subtracted. So the answer to that, and I've been doing well with linens. That's why I told her yes. I've known her for years. I trust her judgment. She picked these scarves up from an estate sale. I would only do it on higher end jewelry and or linens. And like I just said, it would be a 50-50 split after my cost, after me paying somebody to photograph it and paying my daughter to list it. So that, or not list it, but to ship it. So it might end up less than she thinks. That's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping they do well. There are some really, really nice scarves. But it, like, for me To do that, it would have to be higher end stuff. I would have to see it and know that there was money there to make it worth my time and that we weren't wasting everybody's time. Because the worst thing would be you've got $250 into cost, you only make $500. That's $125, and I bet that's less than you would have into those items. So you're taking a chance at losing. She's saying she'll sell it cheap. I was right. She has a cool item. I personally am not buying anything right now except for jewelry and linens. So if you have jewelry and linens, I would be interested in that personally. I don't know if anybody else is interested in buying if she has certain stuff. Jewelry and linens can be shipped to me easy too. That's the nice thing.
Yeah, I'd be buying Disney
Mimi, is that you?
comic books, sports cards, but
she is in here. I have to pay Brooke though, so I'm taking time away from when I would do a jewelry show, and I have to let her work. That's the sucky thing. I mean, she might let you come help her if you want, since you know where I live. I see you, Thenie. I see you. That's whose scarves it is we're selling tomorrow. So you have to come to the scarf show. I'm also promoting it. But yeah, I'll tell you guys, and I tell people that email me all the time, we handpick stuff as we are buying, and we don't pick like anybody else would. So chances that one person wants everything you have are probably going to be slim to none.
Yep.
And if you are a newer reseller and you overpaid for that, chances that you're going to lose money even on your buy price are probably also pretty good, because I pay 10% on the dollar. I know a lot of people that will pay 20 to 30. So if you come to me with that, I'm going to tell you I'd pay $1 on 10 when you paid $3. Yep. So you just lost $2 there. So if you're trying to cut and run, you better have a really, really appetizing offer to make somebody want it all. Just being completely blunt. And when I say that, I mean like 50,000 in inventory, I would probably want to pay $3,000 to $4,000 for, because I'm taking your good with your bad.
You're taking everything. So you're
Right.
you're dealing with all. But also too, I think you made a really good point though too, is when we talked about sourcing for whatnot, because you're going to be getting 60 cents on the dollar compared to eBay sometimes for items, you almost have to source it at a lower buy point for whatnot. And that's something a lot of people don't factor in, because when they're outsourcing, they're thinking about eBay comps and stuff like that. And then they want to get into whatnot. Be very, very careful, because you're not going to get the same prices as whatnot, especially if you're just starting out. You may, or same prices as eBay as you would on whatnot, but also too, you may take a while to get you started on there. And like I said, my first 4 or 5 shows, I took a loss or broke even, barely made anything at all. It wasn't worth my time, but I had to put that time in to get to an established place where I could make some money on there.
Yeah, whatnot is a different ball game, guys, and it's not always a fun one. And it's not for everybody. Just beware. It can not always be good. We have had like the lowest week we've had in a long time. The last week, my whatnot sales have been down, but still, I'm still making a profit, but they're just not where they have been. And it might be the holiday. There's no telling. Like, there's no way to know. I always am like, and Brad, even with eBay, and then like it's fine 2 days later, and I get over it and move on.
So,
but yeah,
I hope your money is. I had the worst week on eBay last week. I sold a total of $523 on eBay for an entire week. That is like unheard of for me. Like, and then yesterday I sold $1,100 in just one day. So but that's just, it just happens like that. So like Kat said, like, you freak out and stuff like that. You just got to, prepare for them, for the worst sometimes. But it definitely was a holiday weekend, I think.
One thing that changed my outlook on Whatnot is a video that Rachel Strickland put up pretty soon after I had started Whatnot. And she talked about the pricing structure and how if you put something in there for $1, you're getting 45 cents. If you paid more than 45 cents for that item, then you are taking a loss. But she goes through and she explains how the processing fees are, how the whatnot fees are, that 30 cents that comes off of everything, and how that plays into the percentage of the price that you get. So I highly recommend taking a look at that video if you're concerned about what price to list things at.
Yeah, and I always send people, I have one whatnot video, and that was kind of done just to appease everybody. I did one because I don't really I don't think whatnot is for the majority of people, and that's why I don't want to put a ton of whatnot content out. But Rachel has a lot. So whenever people ask, I have one and then I send them over to Rachel. I'm like,
Yeah,
Rachel Strickland, go watch her. So she's definitely who to watch for that. Let me give Miss Valerie this dolphin, and then I think we have a few more super chats. Here you go. One Way Vintage, paying up to say hi, and that, hi Julie, and that we got to meet them at Camp List Perfectly, Camp Listing Party.
Fun.
It was great, and LP is in the house tonight. I saw them in the chat, so hello to them. All right, thank you for paying up to say hello to them, I guess. She loves them. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll share the love.
Listen, they can say hi to whoever they want to, all right? That's fine.
I'm going to give you a pillow fight because I think you guys will like that one. All right. Laura Jensen sent a $5 super sticker. We have a lot of super chats. I'm going to go through them fast. Here is your...
Hi, I'm Goddess.
I just woke everybody up because that's the one without the sound down. So, hello, everybody. 365 Vintage Hunter had to leave, said, as always, love you, Kat and Rod, and all the information you teach us. Her mom is on the phone. If you're still here, tell her we said hello, and thank you so, so much. Oh, I forgot Rod. Let's do Rod. Here's Rod.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
Gino made us that, and it took me forever to upload it. Miss Linda McKee sent a $5 super sticker and said, I just want to say thank you. I rechecked my store and some of the shipping costs were crazy high. So we do our store reviews and we look at all the different stuff. And she sold a $110 item once she lowered the shipping. Guys, check your shipping. If stuff is not selling and you're overestimating, you could be costing yourself sales. So make sure you check that. Miss Linda, I am very, very glad to hear that. I'm going to go the other way and give some mermaids and mermen from Yvonne.
Also, too, if you have fat fingers, you can accidentally put the wrong shipping cost in. I've done that multiple times. So,
yes. Yeah, and I have some that are the right. And honestly, I probably should just donate the items because the shipping is like $50, $60, $70 on a $30 item. And it's because they're oversized. They're not even heavy. They're oversized and it's baskets that won't smush. So there's no way to get it down. And people, I've gotten probably 5 to 7. Is this the right cost? I'm like, yes, it is. And I even told, so they're like, it can't be that much. I'm like, you're welcome to purchase a label. You have to put these dimensions and this way. And they come back and tell me, never mind. I'm like, okay, like I'm not trying to like get one over on you. Oh, Resell to Ride had 2 hats removed by eBay today for being counterfeit. Neither had a brand tag. So I know Kevin was just suspended for selling counterfeit items. So I don't know if there is a change in the algorithm that might be flagging stuff. if you've been watching me long enough, was banned on Mercari for selling counterfeit items, and they won't even tell you what it is. I don't know if eBay is the same way.
Well,
But
eBay just said it was 2 hats that she got removed.
I know, but they didn't have a brand. So my
Oh.
question would be, Jess, did you put a brand in it? And then they didn't have the brand tag? And if that's the case, that might be why. But I don't feel like AI would hone in on that. Like, does anybody have any advice for her on this one?
You know, there's the certain word combinations that you use, like when you say inspired by, looks like, made for, you know, words like that will catch the algorithm, and they'll say, no, this is not what you said it was. You can't use that word. But that's the only other thing that I've ever been able to figure out. I had a Coach wallet that I knew was authentic, and it was up, and they took it down, and there were several that were sold, several that were still available, but for some reason they pulled mine. So there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason to it.
And I've only been kicked off Marketplace because they thought I was selling counterfeit Coach purses that I know Nicole bought at Coach, but Marketplace is like, whatever, you're done. And then
Yeah.
Well, I was kicked off there too, so you're not alone.
All right.
Everybody did. It's just so bad.
When it comes to counterfeit items, you may not even sell a counterfeit item, but if someone reports you for that item, it could be another reseller. It could be someone who thought the item was counterfeit. You will get flagged for that, unfortunately. Also, too, you can appeal those. It is a long, drawn out process trying to appeal those cases. You can win those cases. Like Kevin's when he got suspended for it, he was selling a leather vest that just had a bunch of Harley patches on it. So it wasn't a Harley vest, something like that, but they flagged it and they took it down from there. So it wasn't like a counterfeit item, but it's classified as counterfeit. So sometimes it could be the algorithm that just catches keywords in there. Maybe you had Harley patch or something else, in those situations. But the biggest piece of advice I can give to you is do not put them back up. Okay. List them on another platform, list them somewhere else, or just donate them or do whatnot, give them away, whatever you have to do with that. Because if you do relist the item that eBay
don't put the same item back up. Don't take that
trouble, and that's how you get your account suspended. They will send you a warning first. The second time you do get suspended for 3 days, then 5 days, then I think 7 days. So
I think it goes from 5 to a month. I think it jumps
5 to 30. I think it was a 7 to 30. But I could be wrong.
7 to a month.
Yeah, I mean, I had stuff taken down before, said it was counterfeit. And I just, at that point in time, if I had money invested to it, I just eat the cost and get rid of it because I don't want to sell it. Don't want to risk my account on that. Unfortunately, reseller rides too, with you being on YouTube, you are going to be considered a target sometimes, so if there's someone that doesn't like your videos, there's someone that doesn't like what you're selling in your store, take that into mind too, because when you put yourself out there, you do run those risks and someone could be targeting your account. And that does happen. Unfortunately, we've all been there and gone through that. I have my auctions have been targeted with people running them up and stuff like that. So you just got to be very careful with that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't think there's a rhyme or reason. I had something pulled after like a year and a half as a bureau. I'm like, it's been up there for a year and a half. Like that happened last week. So I feel like they might be changing something in their algorithm, and that's like hitting some of this stuff. But here, I haven't done the beach dolphin yet. Here you go, Jeff.
Someone just asked this question, so I figured get out of the way.
I'm doing the scarves tomorrow night, and those are already starting to be cataloged. I think she had like 40 or so done. There might be more done now. So those have photographs and they're up in the catalog for tomorrow night. And then I found another bag of vintage linens that I might do maybe Saturday. That's going to be a pop-up. Like it's going to be a random one, but I am starting to look for more linens to where I can schedule some linen shows. So,
if you have linens, reach out to Kat.
Yeah. Little linens, handkerchiefs and like aprons and stuff like that. That's not going to be heavier to ship. Let's see. What's next? If a buyer leaves you negative feedback and you're a top-rated seller, if you give them a full refund, will the negative feedback be removed?
I've had cases where they did remove it, and I've had cases where they didn't remove it. The last time that they wouldn't remove it, the reason that they gave me was because I did not offer free shipping, even though I fully refunded the buyer. So I don't know what to do.
And I think you got to have them remove the feedback, I think, before you give them the full refund or talk to them about it. I'm not sure.
All right, Kat, I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so I had this happen last week. So the deal, you used to be able to get around it, and it, like, even if they didn't open a return, if you gave a refund, they would remove the feedback. But now they have to open a return. So even if you're not going to make them return the item, tell them they have to open a return. Say, look, I'm not going to make you send it back. I'll give you an immediate refund, but you need to open a return. That is the key to that. So what happened, they opened a return. They had not shipped it back to me. They left me negative feedback, and that negative feedback stayed until the date passed they were to send it back by. So, like, they had to send it back by the 29th of August. And on the 29th of August, that negative feedback. So it was up for 4 days because they have 2 weeks to send it back. So that's what they have to do. They have to open a return, and the case has to be closed. So if they open a return and you refund them in full, the case is then closed. So that would mean a negative would be removed, or a negative would never be seen. But if it's open and pending, like, I could have given that lady her money back without having her ship it back, but I did not, and I was not willing to do that. And so I had to let that negative feedback sit on my account for 4 days. But soon as her day passed to ship it, it disappeared. So it doesn't matter if it's free. I don't think, because I don't do any free shipping. The key is they have to open a return. Yes, and if they refuse to ship it back, it will be removed. But Scott is right, they are being pickier, but the policy is if you're top rated, they open a return, that's when the negative feedback gets removed. Whether you refund them or not, I never refunded this lady. She just didn't send it back in time. And her negative feedback said she couldn't print a label. And she never contacted me. She left me a negative, and I was like, well, if you would have contacted me, if you really didn't have a printer, I would have mailed her a label. I would have. She didn't reach out to me. She left me a negative feedback. I let it time out, and it's done. So, so that's the key. Tell them no matter what, even if it's broken, I'm giving them a full refund. They are going to open a return. Like, hands down. That's the only way to protect yourself. Amanda wants to know if any of us have had any luck with eBay Live. She submitted an app but never heard anything.
I've not looked into it.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
As of right now, what I've been told is that they are only approving certain bigger people right now for it, but I think it's kind of on a freeze as well. That's another thing where they were kind of rolling out, but they pulled back at one point in time with it. We're going to have Hustlebee on here. Was it beginning of in October? He's a good person. Yeah. He's actually associated with eBay Live, and he does a bunch of stuff with them. So we'll have a lot more feedback come October in regards to that.
Yeah, and I submitted an application and haven't heard from them, so I'm right there with you. I did it because when Teresa was on, they gave us the link to do it, so I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm not really trying to sell on there, but I have not heard from them. Is that Mark, and is he late? He is late if he's just coming. Yep, baseball season has commenced. Late fee assessed. All right, here is, what are we giving you? Here you go. That was another wake-up call. I didn't have the sound down on that one either. Whoops. All right, let's see. Jacqueline wants to know, she lives in an apartment with her daughter. She's a single mom. How do you do inventory if you have a small space?
sell small
Or how
items.
would you? Why don't you answer? Yeah, answer if you did.
Yeah, so small items, you want pewter figurines, thimbles, jewelry, miniature dollhouse miniatures sell really well. So you're just looking for small inventory that you can cram a lot of pieces into a little box.
You can fit a lot of clothing in a tub.
Mm.
You know, that's quite a few items you could sell that way as well.
Yeah.
I say you sell everything. You get yourself a small storage unit. You can get like a little like 5x5 or something like that for $50 or $75, probably under $100 a month. And that's just probably that's a tax write-off for your business. And then that way you're not restricting yourself to just smalling certain items, where you can actually put items in there, have a little storage, and you have the peace of mind not having that stuff in an apartment with your daughters, and causing that does cause issues sometimes, because your inventory can start overtaking. We've all been there. I'm lucky not to get divorced over it, but I would highly recommend getting a separate space, especially if you have an apartment or a smaller apartment.
Scott says, "Go tall."
Yeah.
I would agree with Erin. Like if getting a storage shed is not, or a storage, I have 11 acres. I have a shed compound. Okay, I have space. And we're revamping my rental, which will be even more space. So I would do exactly what Erin said. I would do jewelry. Ephemera is another thing. Paper products don't take up a ton of space. Miniatures, anything that's small. Jewelry is definitely a great one, but I would look at small stuff if you can't realistically get a storage unit. If you can, I agree with Rod. You could sell everything, get a storage unit. And I would make sure, if I didn't have a lot of space, to find items that have a fast sell-through rate. You don't want to be sitting on inventory when you only have a small space to use. So check the sell-through rate. You wouldn't want long tail items like I do, because you would need space for the ones that take forever to sell.
Yep.
Camille wants to know, and this is going to be funny when it gets to me, are you selling with priority mail on eBay? Because Ground Advantage is almost in the same price range. So what shipping service are you using?
I'm still stuck on that mindset of, the 1 pound mark going into priority mail. So I'm offering Ground Advantage as a first option and priority as a second option if it's over a pound. If it's not over a pound, I'm not even offering a second option. I'm just offering Ground.
I just set a price of $6 or $9 or whatever based on clothing or toy sizes and stuff like that, and just pick however I'm going to ship it after they buy it.
So I pretty much use Ground Advantage now for almost all my items. If they're bigger items, I'm going to go UPS, but I will sometimes priority mail is actually cheaper than Ground Advantage, depending on where it's being shipped to, and it will get there faster. So sometimes I will flip it over to priority mail, but majority of the time, most of my items are just going Ground Advantage now. I think Ground Advantage is actually the best thing post office has done in a very long time.
Yeah, so this is like a heated discussion in my house, because you had to change your first class items, because they still have first class for cards and letters and things like that. So I changed all 5,000 of my listings to Ground Advantage. However, so all of mine currently right now say Ground Advantage. If the item is more expensive, I will switch it to priority. So if it's not, I leave it Ground Advantage. So we're packing today. The post office hated us today. We had over 60 items go out between eBay, Posh, Mercari, Etsy, and over 500 on Whatnot is what we brought to the post office today. So me and Brad were packing, and he's so used to priority for over a pound, he's grabbing priority boxes, and I'm like, stop, that's Ground Advantage. And he was like, I want to switch it. I'm like, they didn't pay enough for priority. It was like a big heated discussion in the shed today. And he told me I needed to buy bigger boxes that weren't priority if I was going to keep using Ground Advantage. But the buyer was in California, so it was like way more to switch to priority. But he has a good point. I think I would take into account that box costs like $1-ish, say.
Yep.
So if that difference is $1 and you can use a priority box, I would upgrade them to priority. I switched them all because I didn't want to go through 5,000 listings to pick out the ones that were under £1 to put to Ground Advantage. And there was no easy way to do it. And it kind of sucks because I am losing a little bit of money, but like I said, I'm only switching the ones that are more expensive. So it's, yeah, you cannot use priority. That's why me and my husband got into a lovely heated discussion in here. You cannot. Some post offices might let it slip through. Most of them are not going to. So the answer to that is no, which means you have the cost of the box now in addition. So you really need to keep that in mind. And like, if there's a lot of profit, throw it. I'm fine paying a couple extra bucks for priority. Plus the buyer gets it faster. They spent more money. I'm okay with it. If not, though, you need to be, yes. Scott's saying the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same thing. Agree.
Yep. But my husband, who doesn't like to look at things closely, is like throwing everything into priority boxes. And I'm like, stop. Yeah, it was crazy today anyways, because of how many we had going out. He's like, we got to get the post office before 4:45 before they get mad. I think we had this question last week or the week before. I'm assuming the buyer never answered her. So Flickr Maple had a local sale for $180. It's paid for, but the buyer has not reached out to pick it up. So I don't know if you heard us previously. What we had said was to see where they're at and reach out again. But at this point, I would cancel the order because they haven't picked up, and give them a refund and relist it. So we can go around again and say what everybody would do, but I don't know if you maybe didn't hear was it last week, Rod, or the week before?
Last week. I think I'm having deja vu when I read that question.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was last week. So what would you guys do? $180 sale. It's been a month. It's pickup only. I'm thinking they probably thought it was going to be shipped. But what would you? I would cancel it. What would you do?
I would cancel it after 4 days.
I'd cancel it, and maybe that would get their attention more that the thing actually got canceled, because clearly they're not seeing the messages. And then maybe they'll reach out to you finally, and then you can maybe, all right, buy it again.
They tell me when you'll pick it up and I'll relist it.
Right?
If they really, really want it, but yeah.
listen, you've already reached out to them 3 times. You've already done everything in your power to make this sale happen. I would just sit back and wait, unless it's something really big that I just need to move, like a bicycle or something like that, where I just want it out, stick it up to its room. But I would just sit back and, you've already reached out 3 times. eBay can see everything you do in those messages, and they see you're making an attempt. You're doing it in good faith.
Yeah. Miss Jeanette says, if you use promoted listings and set it up high and then run a sale, do you lower the promoted amount during the sale? And how do you think through promotion fees and sales possibilities? So like the combination.
So I run everything in my store on a 3 or 4% promotion. When you put that item on sale, you're only paying that fee on the sale price. So you don't need to change your percentage. It's going to be automatically calculated for you on the sale price. So there's not really anything you need to think through. It's not going to, you're still going to have the same percentage. So if it was, a $10 item and you're paying 3%, it's going to be a $7 item, you're still paying 3%, but only on the $7.
Same thing that Erin said. I was going to, it's too much work to change the promotion if you're going to do a sale anyways.
Well, once you promote an item too, that stays there for 30 days. So you will get.
Yeah, it would still be applicable.
So if you try to trick the system and remove it before someone buys it, it's still going to be good for 30 days. You're still going to get dinged with that fee for that promoted item. But I mean, the biggest thing is make your money on the buy. So if you can if you can afford to run promotions, you can afford to, out promote the market. I mean, take every advantage you can. So I would run promotions, promote your items, do everything you possibly can to sell those items.
Yeah, and I am the same way. I buy low, so I promote, I run a sale, and I send offers all at the same time, all the time. If you buy low, you should have enough room to do that. I want to do a giveaway, several giveaways for you guys. So I'm going to share my screen. And I haven't even told you. You'll see when it's up here. So, hashtag list perfectly. I'm going to give away a free month to list perfectly, guys, up to the business level, $69.99 a month. Hashtag list perfectly. Gino, I'm not getting you a new car. Good try, though. Hashtag list perfectly. You'll get a free month. If you already have it, they will refund you. They will refund you a month's.
Wow.
I normally do this on my videos, but then I get like hundreds of comments and it takes me forever to respond. So I'm doing it tonight because List Perfectly lets me give away one free month every month, which is amazing. Rod, you can do that too, actually.
Well, good to know.
So you know.
This
Pretty
perfectly
sure.
is great. I know some people on the panel tonight uses Vendu. I mean, Vendu is another good platform to use, but we just prefer this perfectly because their customer service is just amazing.
We love them.
Yeah.
We love the ladies.
And the listing party is great too. I mean, which is a great concept. So they really focus on building the community, and you guys can jump on there. If you're a member of this perfectly, you can jump onto their listing parties, which is
Yeah,
kind
they
of
have
like,
live listing parties around the clock, guys, that you can go in and join with people listing live.
yeah,
And
they're all
they do
different themes.
themes too. Star does horror night and listing or something
she
like that.
Like, it's
Murder
kinda like these
mystery.
murder mysteries. Yeah, like
Oh,
like
fun.
yeah, like the murder mystery podcast. You can go there. She'll tell a murder mystery while you guys list together. So I
That's
mean,
awesome.
Wow.
yeah, it's a whole different. I
And
mean, it's
then,
just,
oh, go ahead. Yeah, no, tons of good stuff.
not to mention
Good stuff.
reselling
Oh, I
community is
got
really.
my Reseller Genie merch too. I don't
cool.
have it out here though. Maybe we'll give away some My Reseller Genie stuff next week. They sent me a goodie bag box. I will give you guys like one more minute. So get those entries in. You can get a free month up, whatever subscription level you want. You will get a free month. If you already are a List Perfectly member, you will get a refund, guys. You will get a refund for the month, which is absolutely amazing.
Broke 100.
Whoop, whoop. All right. I'm waiting till it turns to 9:14. Biscuit Butt wants to hear about you body slamming somebody. Rob.
He keeps coming on my videos. I'm going to go to Vegas and body slam him. So we'll see what happens.
All right, let's pick a winner. Da, 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 da. Lucas, you're the winner. Yay, Lucas. All right, whoa, one too many back, cat. All right, let's give away 2 Giaro packs. If you guys don't know, I am in conjunction with Giaro Pack. And they changed it. These are my favorite, but I made them sell out. I mean, I don't know if I did myself, but these did sell out because I kept showing them. You can pick any size poly, padded or non, and get it for free. If you win, 2 winners from Giaro Pack. I like the daisy ones. I'm going to show, I have a box. They sent me a goodie box of like some really cool ones, and I didn't bring them out here either. I am sucking. Everything is in the laundry room, which is far away from the shed. Tomorrow, hopefully the lawn guys come. They were supposed to come today to like pick up we do have some down branches, and they're gonna like clean around my rental. And he said that his guys must have partied too hard on Labor Day because they didn't come in for work this morning.
Good for those guys.
Hopefully they'll come tomorrow. I mean, I respect him for being honest, you know. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, that's not a bender, and you might not see him for another week.
I know, right? So hopefully they'll be here tomorrow. He first told me Monday, and I'm like, "Are you sure you want to work Labor Day?" And then he said, "Okay, we'll come Tuesday." And then I guess they had too much fun Monday, and then didn't come today. So hopefully they come tomorrow. I hope. It's gonna take them like 3 to 4 days because I have so much land to do my yard. But and my rental, the like shrubs are high as the roof. So we have a lot of stuff that needs to be done. A lot. I don't have any more tape. Paula, you have to yell at Joel at American Bubble Boy. I gave away all the tape he gave me. I mean, I'm sure I could message him and he'd probably give me more. I could try. Well, see, that's the thing. I was thinking I'm going to be trying to do a video and pack, and then they're going to be loud. So you're probably right. It probably wasn't best for them while we had a hectic shipping day today. So that probably worked for the better. You're probably right. Oh, yay. Snowberry Vintage got her free GRO pack. Yeah, they're really good, guys, and they really are the cheapest around. And you can get 10% off of anything you buy on there with code The Nurse Flipper. My voice has had enough. If you guys don't know, I've been sick like the last 3 days. Okay, I'll message Joel right now. I'm going to message him and say the people want tape.
The people have spoken, Joel.
The people say they want more tape.
Cat, here's the new baby.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
Say hi.
Look at the baby. My babies are so tiny. They're like this tall.
Yeah, she's like 12 weeks or 13 weeks now, I think. Oh, not
Yeah,
on the
I think
computer.
they're like 4 weeks. So we opened the door today and one of them like ran down the hall and then he got scared and ran back in the room because I have them in my house because of the hurricane. I didn't want to leave them in the rental because it's a mobile home. What kitty cat's name, Erin?
Ginger.
Ginger. We have not named ours yet, but Brad says he wants to keep all 3 rescue kittens. So they will be staying in the house till they are fixed. But I am moving them back into the rental now that there's not a hurricane. They are not living in my house right now until they're bigger. My voice is really done. Okay, let's pick 2 winners. I need to mute myself. Hold on so you guys don't hear me.
Hey,
Hi, sweetie.
I'm going to bed.
All right, hang on 1 second.
Dun, 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 dun. Kim Bazell. So you guys email me. I'm going to type it in again. thenurseflipper@yahoo.com. My voice is not going to stop now. All right, let's pick one more winner, guys. One more winner. And again, the Nurse Flipper gets you 10% off anything you buy there as well. And vintage thrifter, MCM sifter, you got it. Yay.
Yay,
So
cool.
if you win, guys, go to gropack.com and pick whatever you want. And then email me what you want, your mailing address, if you won, and tell me what you want. And that is correct, Patty. We made it 2 weeks, though. So when he started pre-K last year, I had COVID a weekend, and I had not gotten COVID working in the hospital for 3 years. A week into pre-K, I had COVID.
Sounds right.
We made it 2 weeks in kindergarten before he brought it home. But yes, that is totally where it came from. A little petri dish that is. I'm keeping that for me. Sean wants to know when and if you do auctions, what time frame do you put your auctions on?
Oh, probably not more than 7 days. If I put something up, it's because it needs to go or because it's going to go fast. So I wouldn't draw it out.
I just try and, if I ever do auctions, I just try and time it to where it ends on a Sunday night or a Monday night where more people are not having a lot of things going on.
So I normally do auctions. When I do my auctions, I usually run from a Sunday to Sunday. Or if it's like a bigger item that I'm going to get a lot more traction on, I'll start it on a Thursday and I'll do a 10-day auction. So it hits 2 different weekends. And I strategically make sure that these auctions end between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because 2/3 of the U.S. is on the East Coast. And what are most people doing between 7 and 9 on a Sunday night? They're sitting at home with the family on the phone, in bed, getting ready for work the next day. So it's the perfect time for people to be sitting around, forget that ding, auction's ending in 5 minutes so they can bid.
Yeah, and Rod did. That's exactly what I do. I have nothing. I'm fine until I start talking. I have nothing to add to that. All right. Karen says, what is something you keep buying even though it doesn't meet your purchase decision standards?
Everything. I need nothing and I keep buying. I would have to say, so I'm really bad about buying hats and not listing them. So, if anybody wants this one, it's corduroy. No, yeah, I would have to say hats. I have bins of them and I've never listed any.
I don't know. I like the everything answer that you had as well, Erin.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think too.
yeah.
What you buy a lot of. Shoot, everything, just everything.
Yeah.
There's money in it and it's probably cheap when you found it, but then you get it home and then it just like doesn't get listed.
Right.
There's plenty of those. Like, I don't sell clothes at all for that reason. I don't sell clothes or shoes because I was so miserable listing them. So I have been good about not buying those clothes and shoes.
I would say,
Yeah, I try and avoid shoes.
Shoes. Yeah, for me, it's not so much about meeting my purchase decision standards, because when I do buy stuff that I will make money on. It's the fact if I want to list it or not. That's the problem. I mostly have. And my problem is as the more and more I get deeper into reselling, the better I get at better at sourcing I get. And my problem is I'm very good at buying personal collections, buying out items. And literally, like, over the past month or two, I've been buying out massive collections like every other week or a couple times a month. And that I have an overabundance of merchandise, which starts overflowing to other places. And then I need to take a step back from buying. So I guess my problem is I need to say no to profits, because it's actually okay to say no to profits. That's one of the hardest things that resellers have to wrap their head around, because anytime you see something you make money, it's going to be cheap. You can buy it, but how much time is it going to take? Is it going to take up storage? When are you actually going to list it? So it is okay to say no. Something that I need to take my own advice on sometimes.
It's okay.
Is it? It's okay. Oh.
It is okay. You'll find something else later.
For me, I have been good. I haven't really been buying much of anything lately, but one thing that comes to mind is paperweights, because I love them, but a lot of them are really not worth much. So I would say paperweights, because I love them, I just keep buying them, and I shouldn't. Karen says she gets it that Whatnot is about selling cheap but fast. Do you think if you priced your stuff as low on eBay, it would sell just as well?
It depends. Some people see a lower price, and if it's, far off enough from whatever else is listed, they're going to think there's something wrong with it and they may overlook it. If you want to move stuff fast, you can undercut all the other sellers on eBay, but then you're driving down the price. If you want to come back and sell that item again later, the price is going to be lower because you listed it lower. So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I agree with what Erin just said. It would sell because, it's a lower price, but do you really want it that low?
So I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to say no, not at all. And the fact is that people treat Whatnot as a selling platform. Whatnot is not a selling platform. It is a social media platform. Yeah. People go there for the entertainment aspect. People go there for the community aspect. People go there to communicate and talk with people and have a good time. When you go to Whatnot, when you're buying things, you're having a good time. You're buying things. You're interacting. You get caught up in the moment. You don't have that experience on eBay anymore. You don't have that. It's like looking at a plain wall and just placing a bid. Where on there, I'm watching the person. They're laughing. They're smiling. They're having a good time. That makes me feel good. So I would say no. I mean, there's things on Whatnot that sell higher on eBay. And I would say even my own auctions, that there's items that I put in my auction and people are having a good time, call them up. They paid a little bit more than what it would be on eBay. A lot of my items went below eBay prices. So it goes both ways. But it depends on what you're doing on there. Depends on who you're watching. Whatnot is a different monster. People keep looking at it as a reselling platform. It's not a reselling platform. It's a social media platform that allows you to resell on there. When you change your mindset on there, you're going to have a different outlook on there, and your sales is going to change. Everything else is going to change on it.
Yeah, so I would not put the time it took to list them on eBay for the price I sell them for on Whatnot.
Right.
Bingo.
it would not be worth my time. So would they sell just as well? Yes. Would it be worth my time? Hell no. Because I'm putting 15 seconds into it versus 10 minutes. So absolutely, like they would. And I agree with Erin. I do not, like, my goal is not to drive the market price down. I do not want to do that to myself and other sellers. So I think that would be shooting yourself in the foot doing that. On Whatnot, like they're there, they're gone. You know, there's no record. You can't search past sales on Whatnot. Nobody can see what they're going for. So you're not driving the market price down. Where on eBay, that's there forever. You know, so yeah, I wouldn't do it.
I mean, if you ever been to a local auction and actually been in person at an auction, it's a great feeling. I get that same feeling that you get being on Whatnot, and there's nothing else that compares to that. Like you don't get that same feeling on eBay when it comes to putting things for auction, but Whatnot you get that because you have people interacting, people are talking about it. You know.
Yeah.
She wants us to talk again about that it's harder to build and isn't for everybody. I don't know. It's always been hard to build. I don't think, I mean, it is work. Like it is harder now because there are a lot more people on it because it's an older platform at this point, but it's been hard since the beginning. If you don't have a social media following, it's been hard since day one on there.
But even if you have a social media following, it's still difficult. Like I have 8,500 people on YouTube, and even my first 4 or 5 shows flopped. And I broke even and lost money on there, you know? So
and I mean, I still have flops.
Yeah.
Like last night was not very impressive for me.
I think people need to look at it is like, if you started a brand new eBay store today, how many sales are you going to get your first month? You're probably going to get a few, but if you list 50 items, 100 items, 150 items, it's not till you get, you know, the next month, and now we're getting 400 or 500 items, you're going to start seeing those sales start trickling in more and more. But, you know, people don't look at it that same way. For me, I took a giant step back. I had to reassess how I was doing things. I was like, you know what? I did an entire free show. I gave away 22 items for free. I paid for the shipping on all those items. I made sure the shipping was 8 ounces or less to minimize my shipping costs. I had about $50 into those goods. I gave away 22 items. From originally announcing that to the actual show, I gained over 400 followers on there for that free show. I had 142 people in that thing. Most people I had in that free show prior to that was about 10 to 15 people at most. But I also gave away vintage, good quality items that people get for 15, 20, 30 bucks. I didn't care because I had cents in the dollars in them. So I took a sacrifice. That cost me $148, $152, somewhere in that ballpark to do that, but it was worth its weight in gold. So same concept as if you had a brick and mortar shop, what kind of promotion are you going to run to get people in there? You know, like Publix, grocery stores, Walmarts, they do BOGO, buy one, get one free. Walmart's going to lose money in those items, but gets your foot in the front door to buy other items. So the same concept you guys need to incorporate for Whatnot.
Yeah, when we did our first Whatnot, we were playing Plinko if people won with a big Plinko board. And I guarantee half of the people were buying stuff they did not want. They just wanted to play Plinko. Even though they were the dumbest prizes, it was about the hype. And it was, I mean, it's fun. Even as a seller on Whatnot, it's a vibe and it's a rush, you know. But it takes a lot of it. You're exhausted afterwards.
That goes back to what I was saying earlier. Is like it's a social media platform. If you want to be entertained, so what you like on YouTube, what you like on Facebook, what you like on Instagram is what you need to incorporate into Whatnot. And I saw people put in the chats that they're too boring for Whatnot. You're not too boring for Whatnot.
I'm boring.
But here's the thing:
I am not like ridiculous on there. Seriously, I really am not.
But it's different strokes for different folks. What I may find entertaining, someone else may find completely boring or obnoxious.
Like ridiculousness, I don't like. I will tell you, I will peace out of a show. I am not like and this is me being completely honest. I am not a game person. I don't like unless I'm in a casino playing blackjack for some serious cash. I'm not a game person. I'm just not. So if I go into that and it's like a hype thing, I don't like that. So you won't see that on my shows either, because different people like different things. So just because, they're there for Dalton. There are more people there when Dalton is there. Dalton is there every Friday. That's the only day Dalton's there now. But I just I don't like, I'm not overly silly is the only way I can think of to say it.
But I think Sonny made a good point. He was like, he loves your boringness because you're straight to the point. You're also not wasting people's times. So they're coming in there. They're seeing items they like. You're quick and you're having things move fast. You have a system in place. So
I am silly sometimes when we show like, and I'm going to say this now and I'm going to like probably crack up. So when there's like the balls thing, it's balls. Like I'm like, they're balls. And everybody starts making funny statements about balls. So if you guys are wondering where that comes from, it comes from necklaces with like balls. And I don't know how else to describe them. And then the whole chat cracks up. And then they all, because Whatnot censors the word balls. And so they will try and think of ways to make Whatnot not censor their balls sentence. Erin's done it. She's guilty. I've seen her in there. She does it. And then we rated Dave, ADH Dave, and I told everybody they had to talk about balls in Dave's show. And Dave had no clue what the hell was going on. So I do get a little sideways sometimes. Yes, and they bit on my balls. See, they bit on my, and when I do this stuff, I make more money. So I should be sillier because they do like it. But yes, it was so funny because Dave ended his show and rated somebody. He's like, we're gonna rate so and so, and if you want, you can go there and say balls. That's what Dave did. It was just like, I'm like, this is gonna like come back around somehow.
Like my last show, I had people say, tell me some jokes. So people were actually typing in jokes. I was reading jokes throughout the entire show, or you ask questions. But even if you're boring, interact with your chat. Just ask questions. Yeah. Like I'm running a Disney show. Hey, what's your favorite Disney movie? And it started a big debate in the chat. And
sometimes they won't talk. My chat doesn't talk a lot. I think people are listening and watching my shows, and I'll have 50 people and nobody's talking. So I'm just like talking to myself.
We talk more about clackers, and you'll be fine next time, all right? So,
listen, it is so freaking funny.
That's gonna be my new word.
Oh my god,
clacker. I'm going to highlight this. They said if somebody asks if they'll sell something for them, I ask the cash price for the item, and that is exactly how I am. I would rather buy that item from you than sell it for you.
Yeah.
Because I would just rather do that. Like the scarves is one difference. Again, I would do it with jewelry. If it was high-end jewelry that I felt was worth my time, not just like any jewelry. Those are a couple of things. And those basically is like Erin was talking about the paperwork, like that stuff. I'm just going to basically buy the inventory from them after the fact. So I'll take, kind of backwards because I know I'm going to sell, the majority of it. Listen, buddy. And so I will like subtract all my cost and then basically I'll cut them a check for inventory. Because if you're selling on consignment and it's sitting there a long time, that is a lot of paperwork and a lot of risk because you have their inventory and something could happen. You could lose it. You could break it. But with that, I'm just going to cut a check or send them PayPal probably right after the show's sent and take all the cost out. But I would prefer to buy the items outright, but like she bought them, like the scarves we're doing tomorrow, she bought them from an estate sale for what I would pay. So it really, that wouldn't work in that situation. So I figure I would try it because my last scarf show did really, really well and I was happy with it. So we'll see if we can do it again tomorrow. Rad Relics wants to know, do you think Whatnot is losing any steam?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No.
Nope. I think they're gaining steam because eBay Live has not been launched and taken off. Poshmark Live is not what they expect it to be, and I think Whatnot has the majority, has the market right now, and they're gaining steam and keep going too. So, also too, if anyone wants to promote their Whatnot, come to any of my Whatnot shows, and I will promote it for you. We all grow it as a community, and I know Kat does the same thing in hers too. She allows you guys to promote it, so. Make sure you follow both of us to get
during the giveaways, or Marsha will slap your hand. So I don't think Whatnot's losing steam. I feel like my Whatnot is losing steam, but That's because, like I said, I feel like I might have saturated my people at this point. That's why I think throwing some linens and different things in to like change it up, you know, because if you're like same thing, you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think my choo-choo has went down for sure, but I'm gonna try and change that up a little bit. And I have really high dollar stuff I'm gonna try. So that's gonna be like a all high dollar auction, which we will see what happens, but I will try it. Because I've been surprised on there. Like I said, I've done several things. I start them at $50 and they go well, but I will not start them lower than I'm willing to take. So you won't find me starting something that I know is worth 100 or 150 for $5, which I used to do, but I have stopped because I lost my steam. That's exactly why I've stopped doing that. Gino, I did not. I don't think. I don't know when you sent it. I answered you in the chat too, so send it to me again. Gino, you should just start sending me everything like 3 times to make sure that I like figure it out. Lisa said, great panel, great info. My hats can stay in the box, guilt-free. I'll list something else. Listen, so here's the thing, like, I love hats. I love listing hats. So it's really different for everybody else. Like we just listed like 50 or 80 vintage hats. That was 2 lots that I got. I love listing hats. But like I hate listing scarves. So, you know, I think if you hate listing it, I would stay away from, you know, and that's the whole.
But there's so much money in hats.
It's hard. I agree. That's the discipline thing. Like you got to look at something and be like, am I going to list this or is it going to sit in my tote for a year?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not making you any money in the tote. It might be gaining value, but it might be losing value too. You don't know, you know? So, all right. Beach Walker, of course, gets the beach super chat. Here you go, my friend. We have another one too from Vintage Chick, a $4.99 super sticker. Yay! Thank you so much. Here's Dalton riding a dolphin. Dun, dun, dun. Almost all of the super chats are made by Gino's time. Oh gosh, here we go with balls again.
This has nothing to do with balls. It even says
The
that.
whole night, it like went on for hours. Like I can't say the word balls without it coming back for hours.
She thinks Rod is cute.
This has nothing to do with balls, but her aunt put her mom onto my show just before I did the super chat, and she thinks Rod is cute and says hi.
Ooh, scandalous.
You know what? Super chat, we have to give her, right? We have to give her Rod.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
Just for your mom. There you go. Gino made all those. That's what I was saying right before the end. Gino made like all of these for us. Wisconsin River Pickers. Does anyone on the panel have a video discussion about selling on Bonanza?
Nope.
No.
I think you should just go to the Commonwealth Picker channel, and he'll probably help you with anything you need. Bonanza. So, but I've only had one or two sales this year so far. And I actually just signed up there last month or two, but it was a $400 sale. So,
so like all you do is copy your listings there, and that's it. So it would be a very short video, like less than a short video. You just copy your listings there. It's like one button. And then you can decide if you want to give the buyers the discount that you save from eBay fees, or if you want to keep them. There are just a couple options. And I've also, I just started on Bonanza a month ago, and I've had a sale on there as well. So not a lot, but I mean, it was one button, one click to set it up, and that's it. Rod, do we have to go when we list new things like every so often and tell them, or does it automatically pull them in?
It automatically updates it. You can go back and check it. You could always do an update through Bonanza as well. But you might want to just go check out like once a month, but automatically updates your stuff.
Yeah, so I had a sale over there too, guys. It's just one click, so it doesn't hurt to, I don't think.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one just had a first sale.
On Bonanza?
Yeah, someone in the chat just, here we go, right here. We got one right there, had our first sale.
Yeah. I mean, it's 2 clicks. See, look, like it doesn't hurt to set it up. Like they remove all your sold listings too and your unsold listing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when I end my stuff from the other platforms, they take them off because they see that I ended it. So
they're a monster at marketing on Google. Like if you search for items on Google, a lot of times Bonanza stuff comes up. So that's the only way they market their items.
Julia, I don't know what you mean because there are no ground advantage boxes. She said there's ground advantage boxes.
Yeah.
Being test marketed. I haven't seen any.
I don't think they're going to replace priority, but that's the cheaper service. So I don't see them giving us free boxes for it. I highly, highly doubt that.
You know what though? It's not much of a difference sometimes though with priority mail. So I mean, they could potentially. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I would love it if they did, but I don't think they do.
I agree with you though. Probably not because I mean they're losing money every year regardless. So because of the pension plans and everything else.
Yeah. Castaway Girl wants to know, do you feel higher than 2% gives better visibility? I only do 2%.
I mean, I moved mine up to 3 and 4. I don't know how much more visibility it gets, but I feel like it's worth it if it does. So I keep mine at 3 and 4.
I'm around 5%. I have no idea if it makes any difference or not. I've never really looked into it.
I usually do like 2 or 3, but then I also run promotions on top of it, a couple times a month. And but I get most of my discounts actually come from just sending out offers. That's how I get majority of my sales, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I just Googled ground advantage boxes, and I don't see anything. It says somebody showed them, but I'm not seeing anything on Google, so I don't know if they have some exclusive.
If you find pictures, either send me or Kat on Instagram, and we would like to see them if you actually can find them.
She said that somebody showed pictures on their channel, but I'm not on Google. I'm not seeing it at all. I feel the higher you promote, the more visibility you're going to have. I cap out at 12%, so I go higher. I do trending plus 4%. I promote high because I buy low. So if you buy low, you have a lot more marketing options, guys, to make more sales. I think that is the key. Do you guys have a live or a show where you talk about this show we can talk about it. So she said talk about getting offers and low offers, and she said she feels petty when she counters them.
So I have found that I feel best and I have better sales if I give a counter offer, not just a penny off like Kat does when she's frustrated. I will give a true counter offer for what I'm willing to send them, but I will also add a note that says this is my best offer. If you don't accept this one, then I won't accept anything else. So I do give them that note.
I love to play the game of offers. I'll send them an offer right back, and they'll send me. I like going back and forth, and we'll meet somewhere. Figure it out.
Well, but if they're way below where I don't even feel like we're gonna meet, that's when I get all pissy about it. Just because I'm basically, and like I said, most of the time I decline. I know that eBay likes it better if you counter. But if I don't if it's been listed brand new listed and they're sending me 70% off, I'm we're not going to meet in the middle because if it's newly listed, I'm only going to go down 10%, Yeah. So I feel almost like Erin said, my counter offer would be my lowest, which would on a newly listed item only be 10% off. And then there's no, Now I will haggle with them if it's something I've had a long time. Somebody was like, "Good game," because I will go.
I've had that too.
But I have to feel like we can meet. You know what I mean? Like they might be just a little lower. But
I mean, the way I look at it is, if I go to a yard sale, I may offer someone a low offer on an item because I don't know where they're at. And that seller may say, "Oh no, I can't do that. Nowhere near that." So, "Oh, what's your best offer?" And then we'll go back and forth, and then maybe meet in the middle. But I honestly feel like sometimes people do send out offers super low, just kind of feel the water to see where you are in it. And I even send them a message, "Hey, I can't go that low, but I'm willing to go 20% or 25% off for you," and send it back. So I've done that, and I'm literally just sold an item yesterday I had it listed for $450. He sent me an offer for $375. We did a dance back and forth there a little bit, and I sent an offer. And he said, he's like, "Hey man, let's meet at $375," and sold an item for $375. So it just depends. But I mean, it just depends what you have in it or how long it's listed. So that's why I always say I counter everybody.
yeah, and I mean, I think when I decline, it gets the point across, because I've had a lot come in under 50%. I decline, and they send me a reasonable offer that I accept. And I'll even if it's a little bit lower than I was willing to accept, because I respect that they came up that much, I accept it. I'm like, okay, good job. Like, you did good. But I don't think like auto decline, because the amount I'm willing to take changes over time. So I might be pissed about that offer today, but in 6 months, I might play ball with that offer, you know?
Have you ever had a time where you someone sent you a really low offer and you declined it, and then they sent you a message saying, "Hey, why don't you just send me a counter offer?" Because I've had that in the past. That's where I've actually changed my mindset.
Not a lot, to be honest. And I like personally, and this is just personally, and I tell everybody it's not personal, it's business. And that's why I said it's when I'm pissy that I do that, because typically I would just decline. But I personally would never, even like at no matter where, a yard sale, I wouldn't offer under 50%. Like 50% would be the lowest I would ever offer. Like, and I mean, that's if like I really wanted it and felt it wasn't worth what they were asking, I would offer 50, but I could never see myself offering less than 50%. So that I kind of take as like an insult, and it probably is other sellers trying to get it cheap. And the issue is some people take it, right? Like some people take those offers, and some people price ridiculously high so they can, but I don't do that. I'm priced right within market. So when you send me 50% off, I'm like, you know, so.
I like the offers I get when they give me like an explanation with it. Like, "Hey, he's like, I know you have this high. I'm not trying to offend you, but you know, would you be willing to accept, you know, like 40% off, 50% off, you know, I really like this item," or something like that. And I'll work with people too sometimes.
Those I will counter. Like if they write something and it makes sense, I will counter, and not with my penny off. I will counter them with like a reasonable offer. But I'll tell them like, "Listen, okay, I have something listed for $2.43. True story. Yesterday, I get a message. What's the lowest you're willing to take?" I said, "It's $2. That's it." And I promptly turned off best offer because I have it on everything I have. Yeah. And I'm like, it's $2 and it's 3 ounces at calculated shipping. It cannot get any cheaper. Right. Like that is what it is.
I would say the moral to this story is for everyone here is, if you're going to send offers and you're going to do a lowball offer, send a message or be respectful with it. This
lowball offer of $15, I just got it on a 30. Is somebody trying to see if I'm pissy right now? I'm just I'm not pissy right now.
The answer her question though. So if you're going to counter them and you feel petty with it and stuff like that, send them a message like, "Hey, I'm sorry I can't go that low, but I'd be willing to work with you to do this," or something along those lines. And that may help you out and stuff like that. Because I will say, from my personal experience, people don't understand. Like people are like, "Oh, your shipping costs too high." I'm like, "Well, hey, it's calculated shipping. I live in Florida. You're in California. Where the far end of the thing." I tell them
that too. Same thing. Yeah.
People don't understand those things sometimes, especially if they're new buyers. So.
Listen, John, I have done the same thing. I've like really wanted something in a yard sale, and I'm like, "This is all I have," and I've had them take it too. I had that same friggin' thing where I literally was like the end of my pocket. And it was like
Okay,
the last
so-
yard sale of the day.
But you talk to them about it. You know, you actually say,
Yeah.
look, this is all I have. Like, I really want it. You know what I mean? So
I sent a really lowball offer. Well, I'll tell you two stories real quick. One, I was at a craft show and I did not have any more cash with me that day. And the lady gave me an envelope to mail her a check, which was just the sweetest thing ever because I was absolutely in love with this little planter. But a friend of mine does estate sales, and sometimes she'll let me go through things ahead of time. And this house had very expensive things in it, and she has a gentleman that checks for fine jewelry ahead of time before I even get to it. So I'm digging through this costume jewelry, and I found, a handful of stuff, took it home, started looking it up. Well, the one bracelet was like 18 karat gold, sapphires, and diamonds. And I called her and I was like, I only paid you $1 for this. I'm going to guess you want it back. But I was absolutely in love with it. And I said, this is a really low offer. And I literally cannot go a penny above this. And I sent her an offer and they took it.
Oh, she's got it on.
Yeah, but
I
you
wear
were
it every day.
honest and you could have
Yeah.
kept it for $1.
Yeah. No, well, yeah. I mean, if it had
You
been
know,
another
so I mean
situation where
that,
didn't know people,
like, if that was me, I feel like I probably would accept too, because I would be looking at it as like she could have kept this for $1.
Yeah.
I mean, just because it was my friend and I knew, her and the clients, so I took it back. But yeah, that was my lowball offer, but it worked out.
Yeah, and I mean, I brought stuff back, and when I've done big estate buyouts, I have pointed stuff out to people before I put it in my pile.
Yeah.
Like I had a solid sterling silver bowl, same thing. And I knew I wasn't going to pay much for the lot. And I brought it to her and said, and they thought they had pulled all the sterling.
Right.
I said, this bowl is sterling. Do you want me? And she, same thing. She said, yeah, put it in the pile. And I'm like, okay, but I wouldn't have felt okay throwing a solid sterling silver bowl in a pile that they didn't know it was in there, you know? So Stephanie has been I don't know why that popped up.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you, Stephanie. I don't know why. It's weird.
Maybe she just
It's
renewed
been
it.
weird. But yeah, I mean, like, you can make offers petty, I guess, is kind of the bottom line about that. But typically put a note with it. And like, if they don't listen, like Erin said, if I send them an offer and say, this is the lowest, and they come back lower, I'm going to decline. I won't counter them again. Vintage Thrifter MCM Sifter said, what is your best advice for moving past the 250 free eBay listings and keep your listing costs down if you're not a full-time seller?
I mean, depends on how much you're selling and how many more listings you want to have. So, but if you're at your limit and you want to list more, then your next step is the store. It can be the best store.
Yeah, you just got to open a store or sell the stuff cheaper so you can move stuff out and keep it under 250.
Right.
Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're a full-time seller or part-time seller, because I have pretty much the same amount of listings as a full-time seller and a part-time seller in my store. But I would say the biggest thing is if you want to have more listings, you just have to upgrade to a store because you get an X amount of free listings, but those free listings are just you have to pay for your store fees. So you're actually getting those listings at a discounted rate. So I would look into the different storefronts, see what's going to best fit your business model going forward. If you're looking to go past 250, maybe bump up to the first store, and then you can always upgrade or degrade down to the previous store if necessary.
I agree with Rod. It doesn't matter if you're part-time or full-time. Once you get over that threshold monetarily, it typically makes sense to just get a store. Even if it's just like the $9.99 store, not expensive store. Susan wants to know, for those of us on the panel who do online sourcing, is there a way you approach it, and can you go into it a little bit?
When I source online, typically it's through auctions on Cat, what's the website with all the
HiBid.
auctions? HiBid. And from HiBid, I've found some local companies that do their auctions off of HiBid. So I get emails all the time that say, "Hey, you should look at this auction." And so I am going through sorting, looking for things that I would buy. If there's only one thing, I'm probably not going to drive 20 minutes to go get it. So I will just, leave that. I also source, I don't know if you guys can hear this, the cat, I'm so sorry. I also source on Whatnot because sometimes I can buy things and resell them on there. But those are, individual items where when I'm on the auction site, I've got, bulk lots and things, bulk lots and more items. And rather than paying shipping, I'm having to go get them. So just something to consider when you're looking.
Don't usually source online very much.
No, all I can think of is like on Marketplace.
Looking at
You'll
garage
look
sales
or watch for somebody who's maybe unloading a collection. We picked up a big superhero statue collection, but otherwise we don't do much other sourcing online.
Yeah, so I used to source a lot online. And when I used to do it, I usually look for the 80-20 rule, look for how I can get 80% of my money back with 20% of the items. But also, too, when you do source online, if you're buying from auction houses or buying off eBay, I used to source off eBay a lot. I used to source off Mercari a lot when Mercari first started. You can source a ton off Whatnot right now. Whatnot is a prime real estate for sourcing because you get stuff cheap, especially on these smaller Whatnot shows that only have a few people in there and get stuff really cheap. But I would say just factor in, you also have shipping costs, you also have taxes, you also have, you have to be able to make sure you can make a profit in those items. I think that's the biggest mistake when people buy online and don't see all the hidden factors, especially if you go through I was just saying, if you go through like an auction house, you're going to pay a buyer's premium, which is anywhere from 15 to 20%. I've seen it all the way up to like 25% depending on the auction house. So if you buy an item for $10, you're actually paying $12 for the item because you have to pay the auction house a 20% buyer premium for buying those items. So a lot of people mess up; they don't factor those things in. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, so I typically will either buy lots or high dollar items on auction. And the way I find most items is, let's say I'm searching for vintage linens. Once I find some I'm going to have shipped to me, I go look at that auction's catalog to see what else they have that I might want to buy. Because when I get so much shipped to me, I have about 3 pounds on my porch right now that was shipped to me, most of it jewelry. And I do primarily source online, and I make it to where, and I'll tell you, my last 3 shipping bills were $200, $350, and $600 in shipping because it's hundreds of pounds. But in that 600 pounds, there were probably at least 600 items. So the most I'm in is an extra $1 into each item. That's how I look at it. Plus I had higher dollar items in there that really kind of covered, a good chunk of the shipping. But I have found some of my best things by not looking for it. Like I said, I look at vintage linen, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay for shipping. What else do they have that's light enough and not breakable that I can buy to spread that shipping cost out over more items? And my Harley pens. So I found my Harley pens looking for Swarovski stuff, and they had 600 Harley pens, and I was like, I go on different kicks, just like we were talking about, my handkerchiefs, my scarves, like license plates lately I've been buying. And the best things I found, I wasn't looking for. So I would say if you find something that you're looking for, if you're searching specifically, go look at what else they have. And if you're looking at an auction house, look at stuff that's kind of out of your wheelhouse if it catches your eye, because some of the most profitable items have been items that I wasn't there for, if that makes sense. Like the Harley pens and the license plates. Those were accidental finds. Stephanie wants a dolphin. Her bank card got compromised. I am so sorry to hear that. My business card got compromised earlier this year, and they got like $6,000 I did get it all back. And the crazy thing is, I don't use my business card, and it was compromised. I use a business credit card, so I never even used the friggin' card that got compromised. So I was like, hello, like I've never even used that card. And yeah, and it was on my transaction as Amazon, but like in a different way. Like it was AMZON. There was no A for $6,000. So Steph, I hope they didn't get a lot of your money. And Steph, I think you like the pillow fight. I think. Here you go. Okay, I'm going to try and get through these real fast. I'm going to go ahead. We only have 4 more after this one. I think we can knock them out really quick. Is the photo room included in List Perfectly the same photo room that's in a separate app? It is the same photo room, but you can't do like the AI backgrounds and things. It just has solid colored backgrounds, I think. They haven't integrated like the AI yet.
You cut out there for a second, so you have to have the pro account to use the AI. If you didn't hear what Patrick said.
No, on photo room, but List Perfectly, I don't think you can do AI on List Perfectly. That's the difference in between those two. If regional has stopped and you have boxes left, can you still use? Says the answer is yes, but I believe you need to cover the scan code. Somebody had trouble with that. And you can only use it for priority, not for ground advantage. So you would use it as just a regular priority by weight and cover up the scan code because somebody got charged like extra, but it has to be priority. Okay. What? Oh, Rod, we both clicked it.
Again.
We did it again. Okay, I'm not clicking.
Brakes, pump the brakes.
What is a percentage off that you think is good to run a sale?
So I will run a sale of 20% off on newer items, things that I've had from like 30 to 90 days. And then, in chunks of like 30 days, I'll go all the way down to 60% is probably the highest I would do. But that's things that I've had for over a year. So 20 to 60.
I started with 20% and then see how it goes for a few weeks and then maybe lower it or go to 25, 30. 30 is the highest I've gone. So
I would say on average 20, 30% I think is a decent sale. If you send me anything lower, than 10%, it's a waste of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think 15 should be the minimum. I run mine for 30 to 35. I don't pay attention. If it's 10 or 15, I'm like, whatever. But if you get to 20, then I'm gonna pay attention. Mischievous Mariposa wants to know, how long do you promote?
I don't turn it off.
No, it always stays on.
Yep. As soon as you list your item, you put it on and just renews every 30 days.
I do the same. I know some people that end their promoted listings just like sales. I'm not one of them. Mine runs continuously from the day it's listed to the day it's sold. Sunny wants to know, this is the last question of the evening, and then we will let everybody say goodbye. We kept you guys a few minutes late, so thank you guys for staying. Sunny wants to know, what do you feel are the main differences between part-time and full-time reselling?
Probably your dependency on the income. So in our household, we can run our household on just my husband's income. If I decided just one day to quit selling, we would be okay. And I say that I'm like a 3/4 time seller because I'm a little bit more than part-time, but we don't depend on my income. So we've used it for things like we got out of debt, we took a vacation, we have lots of animals. So a lot of the money that I make pays for those things. So I guess, again, your dependency on that income.
You need to work harder, Sonny, if you want to be a full-time person.
Yeah, right. No, I think even when you're part-time reselling, it's a full-time job. No.
It is.
I would say, if you solely rely all your money on reselling, then you're full-time.
Yeah.
Even when I had a day job and I was part-time, I was full-time. It was literally because I was making more money in my reselling business than I was in my day job. So I always said that I had 2 full-time jobs because I didn't like the term part-time because I wasn't part-time. I was putting more time, more work into that business because I want to eventually get to the point where I can quit like I am now and be full-time. So I think it really just comes down to your mindset. If you are part-time, you're just doing it you're not relying on the income. If you're relying on the income, then you're full-time, regardless if you have another job or not.
Yeah, and I feel just like Rod. I honestly put as many hours into it when I was still working full-time in nursing as I do now. The only difference is now that my other job is YouTube and social media and then reselling, but they're both full. They're honestly, it's like having 2 full-time jobs. So like we put over 40 hours a week just into Whatnot a week, let alone everything else. So yeah. And I mean, you could do it part-time and make full-time money too. I mean, if you find the right items and sell enough, you don't have to put the full-time hours into it, which is that's like my goal is to like sell less, make more. I think everybody would like to do that, but I'm trying to focus on that a little bit more. So yeah. All right, we got through all the questions. Tonight. So I'm going to make Erin big and then Joe and Nicole and let them tell you guys bye, what they're doing, where you can find them. And then me and Rod will tell you what's going on. So here is Erin.
I'm going to take a moment to give you all a PSA real quick. If you don't watch Tim over is it Over the Years?
Yeah, Over the Years.
He put out a video recently talking about his mental health, where he's been, what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. So just a note to yourself, take care of your mental health. Even if you don't have like a diagnosis for some sort of mental health disease, you still have mental health. It's like if you said, I'm not going to exercise because I'll just have a heart attack. It's okay. Kind of like that. You don't just ignore your mental health because you don't have to see the doctor for it. You're still going to take care of yourself. If you are having troubles, reach out. If you know somebody that needs help and you don't know how to help them, Google, find it, ask, Google, why does this person feel this way? There's their diagnosis. What are their symptoms? How can I help? And a lot of times the best help that you can do is just to be with somebody physically there. So that's my PSA for the day. I'll be on Instagram.
Here is Joe and Nicole.
Thank you so much for having us on the show. It was so fun. What a great community. Check out our Reseller Showdown. It's a game show for resellers, starring resellers, created by resellers, something like that, where we just have fun. And check us out. I'd flip that on YouTube and Instagram.
Yep. Perfect. Rod, what's going on, my friend?
I would say I was on the I Flip That game show, and it was a lot of fun. So guys, definitely go check them out.
I love watching it. Yep.
Now, today I just dropped a brand new video on YouTube on Picking and Punching channel where I bought a once in a lifetime collection. So make sure you guys go see that. It is pretty epic what I bought. Plus, I have a cameo for my little puppy in there, my dog's in there as well. And then I did launch a second channel called Flipping and Punching, more of the business side of things. Gonna just more behind the scenes, more numbers, kind of show you guys what I'm selling. I will be on Whatnot tomorrow night. I think Kamala Picker's going live at 7:30. I'll be going live after him. And then I'll be selling Disney items. And then Kat will be selling her linens tomorrow night. So come see both of us, one of us, bounce back and forth, whatever you guys want to do. Or don't see me, go see her, But either way, it all works out. But and if you guys have any questions,
people tag me in other people's shows all the time while I'm live. There's always I always have friends live when I'm live. There's always somebody live. Like you can't. Yeah. Next week we are going to have Buck Mountain Barn, which he has never been on, and Mr. Sunny Las Vegas, who was in the chat tonight, will be on with us next week.
Oh, and speaking about Sunny, he said he's going live tonight after this show. So if
Sunny's
you guys
going live.
As soon as we end, everyone jump over to Sunny and go support Sunny.
And then I have a high dollar trinket box video I put out yesterday. I'll be on Whatnot tomorrow with scarves, and then Thursday, Friday is jewelry. 8:30, except Fridays are at 8, and that is the only night Dalton is there. If you want to hear Dalton and his absolute ridiculousness, he is there Friday nights. So definitely come. Thank you, Erin, Joe, Nicole. I appreciate you, Rod. Thank you for
Thanks for
coming
having
back.
me.
I appreciate you guys. All of you
back with
watching,
anything.
thank you so much. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.